Good morning and vanakkam. In this video, we're going to be reading from Dancing with Shiva, Hinduism's contemporary catechism, written by Sadhguru Sivaya Subramania Swami, a richly illustrated sourcebook of Indian spirituality in question and answer form, exploring how to know the divine, honor all creation, and see God everywhere, in everyone. Today's lesson is lesson 114, and we'll begin by reading the caption to the facing image. A woman kneels to supplicate Shiva, who sits beneath a tree, a yoga bandha supporting his legs in yogic pose. Knowing that God Shiva can be worshipped anywhere, she closes her eyes above and pours forth adoration to her beloved Lord. Lesson 114. Do Saivites worship only in temples? Shloka 114. One can worship God anywhere and be in contact with the inner worlds, in the temple, in the home shrine, and in the yogi's contemplation. However, in the holy Shiva temple, the three worlds most perfectly commune. Om. Bhashya. In the shrine room gather messengers of the Mahadeva being worshipped to hear the prayers of the devotee and carry them to their master. The gods can be worshipped anywhere when the proper sankalpa, preparation, has been performed. God's presence is everywhere, through everything, in everything. For Shiva is the creator of all things, the manifester of time, form, and the space between forms. Shiva is worshipped in the mind, in the heart, through the throat, in the head of the yogi locked in yoga. So great is the power of worship, communion, and communication with the centillion devas that when a little bell is rung, a flame appears in the lamp, the vermilion spot is placed, the flower appears and is offered. God Shiva and the gods are invoked. Contemplating the aftermath of puja or abhisheka, we feel the sannidhya or divine presence of Parashakti, tender motherly love, permeating to the outer walls around the temple. The Vedas proclaim, assemble all with prayer to the Lord of heaven. He is the one, the all-pervading, the guest of men. He, the ancient of days, abides in the present. Him, the one, the many, follow on their path. Om Namah Shivaya. Good morning and vanakkam. In this video, we're going to be reading from Living with Shiva, Hinduism's contemporary culture, written by Sadhguru Sivaya Subramania Swami. 365 daily lessons based on ancient Vedic laws, disclosing how to approach family, money, relationships, technology, food, worship, yoga, and karma to live a truly spiritual life. Today's lesson is lesson 114, and the topic is, are you ready? When you control your emotions, you are bringing through your spiritual being. It is only your spiritual being, your soul in action, bringing through the spirit or bringing through God, that can control the mind. When you are living in an emotional state, you are only experiencing the mind temporarily out of control. And like anything that gains its own momentum, even if you do not control it, it will subside automatically after a period of time until it builds up again. This is all caused by subtle transgressions of natural laws of the mind in this life and in previous lives. There are many subtle laws. For instance, if you're planning to do something for someone and then you decide for some reason that you won't, all of the spiritual power that you had previously brought through from your spiritual being will be coagulated and blocked by your hesitation. Then tomorrow will not be as good as today was. It will be worse. To keep your spirit flowing, always allow yourself to be in the line of understanding. In other words, do not allow misunderstanding to arise in your mind. Should misunderstanding arise, sit down, be quiet, and do not get up until you understand the problem. You might have to sit for an hour. Instinctively, your animal nature will not allow you to do that. But if you use your willpower and persist, tomorrow will be a perfect day. Now, this is easy to talk about and also easy to understand, but it takes a very discerning mind, utilizing the power of discrimination, to master these laws of the mind. Train your mind to awaken the spiritual being. This is as difficult to do as it is to train a person to dance or to swim, or to accomplish any athletic feat requiring a highly trained body. You have to always be the master and be attentive to your goals in life. What is your goal in this life? Is your goal to sit and wallow in the emotions? Is it to memorize a lot of things that different people have said so you can quote from them? Or is your goal in life to find first your infinite being within yourself? If you could only once gain just a glimmer of your true being, the spiritual being flowing through the mind which you always thought was you. Instead, you have things that you have to do that you haven't done. Things that you will do and things that you will not do. Things that you haven't made up your mind to do as yet, and things you thought you would like to do but decided you wouldn't do. All of this is going on as a process within yourself, and it keeps you nicely confused. A confused mind creates the form to which you give a name, and you become Mr. or Mrs. somebody from somewhere. You go along like that for years and years until all of a sudden you drop dead and give up the physical body. Then what happens? What happens to this mind that is so concerned about, what will my friends think? All of these various concepts that make up your personality when you lay down your physical body and die. Just what happens to them? Are you ready for that experience of death? You should always be ready, especially nowadays when the opportunities are so great. Always be ready, spiritually ready. Are you spiritually ready? Have you done your duty to your family? Have you done your duty to your temple? Have you done your duty to yourself? Or do you shirk some of your responsibilities? It's not up to your Swami to know all those things about you. Somebody once said, well, Gurudeva just knows everything about me. What good does that do? It's up to you to take a running total on yourself daily through feeling. You can't do it through thought. You'll get all mixed up. Are you ready to become a spirit, a spiritual being, an illumined mind at the moment of death? Or at the moment of death, are you ready to become a completely confused, congested mass of gaseous matter, which is what a confused mind looks like? These are vital religious questions that the individual must face and find the answers to. Sutra 114 of the Nandinada Sutras, the written marriage covenant. Shiva's followers compose a written promise to one another before marriage, defining the duties, responsibilities, and expectations of their life together. At key junctures in life, they rewrite this vital agreement. Om. Good morning and Vanakkam. In this video, we'll be reading from Merging with Shiva, Hinduism's contemporary metaphysics, written by Sadguru Sivaya Subramania Swami. 365 enlightenment lessons from a mystical master, revealing the depths of Raja Yoga, the clear white light, the states of mind, and the ultimate spiritual destiny of every seeker. Today's lesson is lesson 114, and the topic is torn between past and future. What is the instant? That is what we have to discover through a moment of concentration. What is the moment? We all know what the past is. Many people live in the past over and over again, and they never catch up with the present. Other people live in the future, but of course when they do, they're really only living in the past too, and they never find the present either. Just as an example, how many times have you gone to the temple without being fully there? Part of you was there, part of you was living in the past, part of you was trying to live in the future, and there you were emoting over the things that happened that should never have happened, and fearful of things that might happen in the future, which probably won't happen unless you continue being fearful of their happening until you create them. Do you know that the ability to live right now in the instant is a spiritual power, reflecting the awakening of the soul and requiring a subconscious control of the mind? Your soul is never bothered with the things that disturb the rest of the mind. The mind lives in the past, and the mind tries to live in the future. But when you quiet your mind, you live in the present. You are living within your soul, or the higher state of your mind, which is undisturbed by the things of time. Also, when you live in the present, you eliminate fears, worries, and doubts. Of course, you might feel a little out of place for a while, as if you weren't anybody. If for years and years you have been accustomed to making fears, worries, and doubts your cherished possessions more important to you than anything. There are people who just wouldn't know who they were if you took away from them their fears, worries, and doubts. But if you want to be somebody, something, a state of being, you want to live in the eternal now. There is a simple formula for attaining the eternal now. If you can remember it, you can center yourself within yourself very quickly and experience living right this instant. Imagine yourself now, worried, bothered, and disturbed. And in the midst of your disturbance, say to yourself, I am all right now. Just this instant, I am all right. What a shock to the disturbed part of your mind. It will not only be shocked, it will be shattered out of its disturbance when you declare the truth that you are all right in the eternal now. And that's it for today's lesson. Take care of yourself, have a beautiful day, and we'll see you in the next video. Om Namah Shivaya.